Hey, welcome back to SourceFed. My name is Elliot Morgan.
Hello, I'm Joe Beretta.
A teacher at the Art Institute of California, Orange County by the name of Mike Tracy has been fired after he decided that crazy, overpriced textbooks weren't really necessary for his class. Tracy was trying to save his students money and realized that the ebook for his class was useless, so he just left the books off the syllabus. The class? Photoshop. Apparently you learn Photoshop better by actually using it rather than reading about it in a book.
On that note, please Photoshop us in these stances.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the school administration got their for-profit panties in the wad, and we're all like, you can't do that because it's part of a school policy.
You know what else was part of my school policy growing up? You know, not holding hands. You know what I did? I freaking held hands with everybody. I was a hand-holding monster. Even if they didn't want to hold my hand, I held it anyway because I'm a rebel.
Yeah.
And you know who else is a rebel? Mike Tracy, who refused to adhere to said school policy. Then a couple weeks ago, Tracy gets an ultimatum from his school president. As you have been previously informed, you are required to utilize an ebook from the list. Failure to comply with this directive will result in your immediate termination of employment for insubordination.
Insubordination! And wouldn't you know it, Tracy went boss on the ultimatum, refused to have his students pay for an unnecessary textbook, and was fired a week and a half ago. Now, that seems like a drastic reason to fire a teacher, right, Joe?
Yes.
I once had a teacher who smoked pot in his biology lab and ran his own little convenience store from his classroom. Guy was freaking awesome, and he was never fired.
That true?
Yeah, it's totally true. I
That's
really like him.
really cool. I bet you learned a lot about life from that guy.
Totally, like, it was seriously like 50 cents for like a huge Mountain Dew.
I wonder if the administration knew.
I don't think they had any idea.
You could just chalk it up to being in the biology lab. Oh man, things happened and we did an experiment.
Something experiment.
As it turns out, every school that has the words Art Institute on them are owned by a for-profit company called Education Management Corporation. Now, something about the words education and corporation right beside each other in a sentence is a little scary. It's bad enough for public colleges where students show up not realizing that they're gonna be financially pwned by the powers that be in the textbook department. Quick side note, this stuff is really expensive. Here's a story. The summer before I went to college, I worked at a golf course doing grounds crew. I like dug sand traps and mowed fairways and stuff, and I went to school with $500 in my pocket. I'm like, I'm rich, and I could really make money stretch back then, so I was like, I'm good for the year. Then I bought books, and I was like another $500 in debt. My dad was like,
a book.
I bought a book. Long story short, it's expensive. Be prepared. College is expensive.
And it seems that these for-profit schools are much worse. EDMC has their own distributor, VitalSource, to pump out ebooks, all of which only last a single semester and require students to buy them regardless of whether they're necessary to learn the material. After the semester is over, the ebooks just vanish. And the students buy them for the next class. They don't even get to keep them for reference material.
And they don't get to resell them for like, what, 5% of the original cost, which is important because they need the cash to buy books for the next semester's classes. So now students are rallying behind the teacher, making petitions and writing to the art institutes for firing a guy who was, for all intents and purposes, using common sense.
Yeah, and on that note, isn't that the kind of teacher/professor that we want? Okay, someone who uses common sense and has the best interests of his students in mind, and now this corporation is firing him. And textbooks are a racket if we haven't made that clear already, okay? They changed 2 sentences in the 9th chapter of the 8th edition and charge you another $300, okay? Or $172.60, I believe, is what my zoology book on reproduction came to, and I'm still freaking mad about it.
Apparently, you remembered it very specifically. So what do you guys think? Should he just bite the bullet and make his students buy the books? Because obviously he should be teaching. He's a good teacher. Or should he continue to stand up for his beliefs? Is he teaching more in that way? I don't know. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below.
And while you're down there, you can click that like button, you click that subscribe button, and you can even click this annotation for our 5 daily stories. I'm Elliot Morgan.
I'm Joe Beretta.
Hey, Photoshop us like this.